Our KMTV, we are everywhere. Currently, we're privileged to be in the office of the Chief Executive Officer, that's the CEO of YMCA Liberia, Timotheus Kamaboai, that's Timotheus Kamaboai. So welcome you live on KMTV.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate the work of KMTV.
It's good to have you. This time around, we are in a crisis. You cannot see the young people as often doing what they should be doing. Professor, let's look at your general observation about the COVID-19 crisis in Liberia.
Well, this crisis is affecting many countries. Liberia is no exception, and I think the country has been doing well, generally, both the government and the people. I think there's a lot more that can be done, a lot more awareness and sensitization need to be done in our communities, and people need to observe the health protocols to ensure that we all stay safe.
What's been your own involvement over the period? Just let the cat out of the bag. We've been seeing some videos of you on social media. What's been your own involvement in that? What specifically prompted it?
Well, we are at a point where we really need to sensitize our people around some of the key issues related to the fight against the coronavirus. My first video was mainly around social distancing. We were starting the period of a stay-home order as announced by the president, and people were going to spend a lot more time in their communities. So our focus was how can we sensitize people around the need to stay away, the need to be socially distant from other people or physically distant from other people so that they can be safe. So it's not just to leave the street and go into your community and then continue doing why you even left the street in the first place. In the second video, we did some analysis of the impact of some of the actions in the different communities, like why were we in the communities and what people were doing. And so at the end of the first 2 weeks, we said, let us do an assessment through our monitors and find out what happened. And we got to realize that many people did not observe the health protocols. They only left the main streets, but in their communities, it was business as usual. And then we made 5 key recommendations to the government or to the society as a whole. So our first recommendation was that, look, let us look at the first stay-home order we had. What are some of the gains? What did we achieve? What are some of the lapses? What can we adjust to ensure that we make sure that we make good use of the time that we are experiencing this stay-home order? My second recommendation was to do more awareness in our communities around the coronavirus and how people can stay safe. There are still a lot of doubts in people's minds about the coronavirus and people not believing some of the messages they are receiving. So we need to do a lot more awareness. My third recommendation was for government to mandate the wearing of masks, face masks, in public places. And thankfully, that has been passed, so we appreciate the government of Liberia for that. And then my fourth recommendation was for government to equip health facilities to be able to take care of some of the primary or essential health services that people go to clinics for, because most health facilities that we talked to, they were under-equipped. Their health workers were afraid, like they panic basically when it comes to treating people. So we wanted them to be prepared to provide more support to these health centers. And then last but not the least was for us to continue the already existing health protocols that we have, washing hands, avoiding large crowd, maintaining a minimum of 6 feet from people. So all of those things we were able to communicate in our video to clarify so that people can be able to understand the essence of these things.
And so you said, with the exception of the wearing of masks in public places, the rest, and to some extent or certain reasons, the wearing listened to or achieved by the government. If I may ask for one or two as priorities that you think the government should work on and enforce to the core, what would that be?
So thankfully, so meaning that in those two, I would take out the wearing of face masks that is already implemented. So the first thing I recommended, and I hope the government did it, maybe they didn't come to the public with it, is that, look, if people are going to sacrifice a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and majority of the population stay home, businesses are closed, and all of these actions are affected, it is just very important that people get to know the benefit of the sacrifices that they made. All right. It is just very important that the government comes out to the public and say, during this period, we were able to achieve these things. But however, these were the lapses. In order for us to move forward, we need to be able to address these. Unfortunately, we only got a directive for an extension of the stay-home order without having any information as to why we even stay home for the first 2 weeks. So that's going to be my first recommendation again, so that even after these 2 weeks, it's not late. The second set of 2 weeks is not late. I think the government should still go back and give us some rundown of the whole month that would have reached at that point and what was achieved, to serve as the basis of any further action by the government. The second thing is on the issue of awareness. Now, our society, there are many different people with different educational level, different ways of responding to things. Awareness plays a key role. And this is where I think civil society organizations like us, the media, the NGOs, and all the community leaders, religious leaders, we have to play a role in the response. This is not a response by government alone. We all need to get on board, and government needs to create a platform for us to be on board to help with the awareness. Because if we continue to give directives without giving people the awareness on the implementation of those directives, people will just do things because they want to comply or because they need to comply, but it wouldn't be done properly. So take for example, if you say a 3 p.m. curfew, everyone leaves the street. Okay, people leave the street because they want to comply. But the essence of people leaving the street is not because we want the streets to be empty. I'm sure it's been implemented so as to avoid people interacting or mingling or gathering. So if these people leave the street and go into their community and still mingle and gather, and so what is achieved? So this is where awareness plays a major part. And I will come to the point of the wearing of the mask as another example, right? I'm happy that the government mandated the wearing of masks in public places. It is yet to be seen whether this is implemented fully, because there are still many people outside without masks, even security officers. So we hope that it can be implemented fully. The second part of it is that I think people think that when you are out and about with people you don't know, then you need to protect yourself. But when you are in a familiar space, like your friends and colleagues, then you see people draw down their masks. I mean, this is one of the major reasons why people, in fact, why many health professionals advise people to wear masks, is because this virus is asymptomatic for many people, meaning that there are people who can contract the virus and they show no sign or symptom. So wearing a mask will help us so that those that have the virus without signs and symptoms cannot spread it to other people. But if you feel that because we are friends and colleagues and we can sit and lecture and talk, and because of that you withdraw your mask, you put all of us at risk. Now, yeah, some of the things that have been happening. Many times you go out, you see people wearing masks. How are they wearing it? Sometimes someone wears a mask and draw it under their chin and walk around. Other people pull it above their heads. Some masks are so thin or so small in width that they can barely fit between the nose and the mouth, so they're just hanging there. And the essence of it is for you to cover the nose and the mouth. Another thing related to that I will advise the Ministry of Health to do is that the Ministry of Health need to come up with some specific guidelines about production of masks and wearing of masks. Like what kind of cloth, how thick, how thin, what the space they should cover. If possible, they may even need to certify or accredited mask producers that will be doing it according to Ministry of Health approved guidelines. Because if you look out, people wear different kind of masks. Some of them so much space between the mask that even an insect can crawl through and come out the other side. So these are some of the things. A lot of awareness need to be done. Otherwise, like I said, people will wear it to comply. But then the purpose of wearing masks is not that we're not doing it because we don't want to see people's faces. It's for a purpose. And if people are not aware, then that purpose will not be achieved.
Doing awareness, you have to have a target, if you will, in terms of recommendation. Where should the government start off from in terms of carrying out massive awareness? to the people?
Well, this awareness needs to be done at all sectors, right? Now, most of the people you see not fully wearing masks are in fact people who you will consider to be like the literates or people who should know, all right? Most of them are people that wouldn't be wearing masks. We need to concentrate it in the communities, marketplaces, public places, yeah. But it's an information that needs to go far and wide across the country with different target groups. And we need to be the examples, right? So sometimes you see, I've seen some of our officials, you wear a mask, and then when you are about to speak, you pull the mask out of your face to talk. So what is the purpose of wearing a mask if you're going to pull it out of your face to talk? You know, then you put people around you at risk. So we need to be as examples for ourselves, whether in our cars, in our offices, or wherever we wear our masks, so that people can see and learn. And then we need to be able to get out into the communities and sensitize our people on the importance of wearing masks, so that they see it as a safety measure for themselves and their family, and not just a regulation that has been passed by the government for some reason that they don't know.
Could you share to the public, we have other NGOs, other civil society groups and institutions that are involved into the fight. Some of them are creating awareness, and some of them are carrying out some donation, identifying with vulnerable homes, people, and so forth. What has been the involvement of the YMCA so far?
So I will talk about three main things that we've been doing, all right, that we are doing. So one is the usual awareness thing in communities where we've trained our volunteers, and in fact they were trained by the Ministry of Health to go out into the communities and provide awareness, meaning in their communities, because we try to avoid people moving from one community to the other. So during the operational hours of the day, as it is now, they are in their community creating awareness and taking all of the health protocols into consideration. The second thing is why we've set up our phone call-in center, all right? So we have young people that have also been trained, again by the Ministry of Health, and these people have been supplied mobile phones and SIM cards with credits, and they call random numbers and talk to people. What some of the things they talk to about is about creating awareness around the coronavirus. They also encourage students and parents when it comes to learning at home, ensuring that the kids are doing their lessons and learning and taking the time not just to play. And then they're also looking at issues that have to do with protection and safeguarding. You may be aware that there's been some reports around sexual and gender-based violence incidents due to the stay-at-home orders in most of the communities. So they are also providing that awareness to women, to children, and to even to fathers around those protection issues. We're going to be providing some rice and basic dry food rations to them, hopefully by next week in some of the communities.
But based on some of the statistics we've been receiving on the average, the virus, though some young people are falling prey to it, but looking at the general statistics, the older folks are more at risk as compared to the young people. As a result, in Liberia, some young guys or young people say, hey, in the common Liberian way, they think it come for us because we're young, we're still strong, our immune system is very strong. So they are, perhaps some of them are careless. Any piece of advice to them in this direction?
Well, that is a key point. I'm glad that you raised that, right? Because there are many different factors. Age, being young is an advantage. But also the virus is known to have affected many people with pre-existing health conditions. In Africa, especially in Liberia, there are many young people with pre-existing health conditions. Our health facilities are now up to standard. They haven't been equipped. So many people have a condition that they probably don't even know about, all right? So those are other things that would serve as a disadvantage for you. So we want to just conscientize young people. Look, there's nothing about picking chance, right? It's better you do all you can do to stay safe. Right now we have a death rate of almost like around 10% in Liberia in terms of people who die from the infection. So you can be in the 10%, right? So why not keep safe to protect yourself as compared to giving yourself a 10% chance of dying, you know, or 90% chance of surviving, where you don't know what the percentage you will fall in. We just need to ensure that our people are aware, that they protect themselves, that they protect their families, that they spread the message to other people around them, sensitize people so that we all can know that this is a virus that hasn't come for any specific person, any specific group of people. It can affect anyone, and we all need to take the safety measures that have been given by the government of Liberia to make sure that we protect ourselves so that our country can get back to normal. The longer we stay in this crisis, the more effect it will have on our economy. So it's better we work together and then be able to recover so that we can be able to get our lives back together.
The issue of social distancing, so far, it appears not to be working at all, especially when you go to marketplaces. In other gatherings, people are still moving around. As a result of this, there has been this argument now, since in fact there's no control on social distancing. The churches are calling for reopening. What's your take? Or religious institutions generally?
That is a very important question. I am one of those who believe that the religious institutions should reopen, taking precautions into consideration. Now, if you observe, most of the formal and organized institutions, schools, religious institutions, offices, they are closed, businesses. These are places that can put in place measures to protect people. Take, for example, if you talk about a church, you can do social distancing, make sure people wash their hands, wear their masks, and all of those things. In the informal sector, this is where the rules are not applied. Like the marketplaces, the street side selling, they don't apply those rules there. So what is happening is that those institutions that have the capacity and the capability to take the measures are the ones that are closed, and then those that are not exercising the measures are the ones that are open. So we need to look at it critically and see what we can be able to accommodate. And I believe strongly that churches should be allowed to open because they have, and businesses and institutions and religious institutions, they have the capacity to observe the health protocols during their activities.
Any final closing comments before we wrap up, sir?
Well, I just want to appreciate all of our health workers across the country for the sacrifices they are making. This is a very challenging time, and people are putting their lives on the line to do social work. We appreciate what they do. We support the government for her efforts. We want to enhance government's efforts by doing more awareness, reaching out to more people so that people can comply to these measures. I want to call on the government to just move from issuing directives and focus more on awareness, because if we continue to issue directives without the necessary awareness to the population, we wouldn't be making any gains. So let us support community awareness, let us support civil society institutions to play the lead role when it comes to community awareness so that they can be able to reach out to the people in the different parts of the country to observe these measures. Thank you, KMTV. We appreciate the work that you have been doing along with some other media institutions, and we hope that we all can join our hands together in this fight.
Thank you so much. It was nice having you as the CEO of YMCA Liberia in conversation with us. Many thanks for watching. Godfrey Nanambadu Kwanzaa, and I'm Julius Conta.